Hey guys, welcome to the RoundTable, episode 77. I'm Jenny Walker, the social media ministry leader here at Life Church, and this is Mike Hill, who is our lead pastor here at Life Church, Huntington, Indiana. And what was so funny?
No, you got to the end.
It did?
Was like, lead pastor.
I didn't even hear that.
It's okay.
I don't even care.
Why would you throw out that? But that's probably.
I felt like being funny.
Good. I never even thought. Like maybe people were listening from Nova Scotia.
Scotia.
Yeah.
A lot of people watch from Canada.
We have.
Really?
Yes, there have been a bunch of people from Canada.
Yeah. So
I haven't seen them from Nebraska, though, or Nevada, the other country.
So you haven't watched long enough to know these stories yet.
Do what now?
He hasn't seen any of those, so that's like an inside joke.
It is an inside joke. So Nevada, was it Nevada?
I
don't know why.
She thought Nevada was a country.
But not really. It just was the first thing that it was the first thing that came out of my mouth.
Oh, no.
Huh?
It wasn't the thing I was thinking.
That's how
I knew it was a state. Listen, I know the 50 states and capitals.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do a quiz.
Okay, ready. It's been a while, but I think
California.
California.
That's another state.
Give me the first letter. Give me the first letter.
I'm guessing this.
Oh, you don't
I think
know?
It's an S.
S. That's not.
I'm guessing that this is right.
Do you know it? Is it S? I don't think it's S.
It's not
I'm
Sacramento.
fool myself on here.
It's not Sacramento.
It's not Sacramento.
It's not. It's
What
like
is
a.
It's
It
not?
is?
I don't know. I was guessing.
Yeah, it's Sacramento.
That's rude. It's been a really long time since I've done my 50 states of caps, but I used to be really good.
Okay, how about South Dakota?
And like South Dakota. I'm really bad at it. Boise. No, that's Idaho.
I don't know.
South Dakota. Give me the first letter. P. We're done. I'm done. What is it?
Pierre.
Pierre?
Yeah.
I don't remember
North
that
Dakota?
one. North Dakota. We should stop.
Wyoming.
We should really stop.
You just got that saying.
I know.
I know all 50 states and
because I
capitals.
used to.
Okay.
Like in 5th grade, I was bomb at it.
Okay, what's one thing that you got like memorized that you'll never forget?
Indianapolis, Indiana. Boise, Idaho.
No, I'm not saying state and capitals.
Oh,
Like, is there something
like a
else that's like
quote?
been imprinted in your brain that you'll never forget?
No.
Nothing.
Nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
I mean, like,
Nothing
like
that's like
anything.
this
This is relative.
I know, like all of my knowledge just
Like, I
went.
learned this and I'll like never forget it. Like this one thing.
I really can't think on the
we
spot.
better
What about
just-
you?
We better
Okay,
just- we
our
better
guest.
introduce-
Yes.
What about you? We haven't introduced our guest, but
Yes.
you is
You. So we have a special guest today because he's saved our life, saved my life actually, but he. Why are you
did?
looking like that? No, you really did because we needed somebody on the show, really last
yeah,
minute, and
yeah.
you stepped up, which I think was really awesome.
I was
But-
actually on the side of the road, and you picked me up and
Yep.
put me in your
Yes.
car.
I
and
did.
brought me
That
here.
would have been awesome.
I know.
I was driving down the road, found a guy, brought him in. What do we think?
He looked like he really wanted to share his story.
Shoes, clothes.
Yeah, but this is Jonah Lemmon.
It is.
Yes, it is, and I love your name.
Thank you. I do too.
What
It's
is so
mine.
funny, Nick?
Why?
Jonah. I don't know. I just like Jonah.
Oh, I thought maybe
The
like
lemon?
all of it went together. Like you're like, I love your name, Jonah Lemmon.
That is
It does
kind
go
of. It
together.
does
It
ring,
goes-
Jonah
yeah.
Lemmon.
Okay, so Jonah, tell us a little bit about you. So obviously you're an HU student, but give us a little bit broader perspective. Where are you from? What are your likes? You know, tell us a little bit about you because all Jenny said is you only like ping pong.
Yeah,
That's what he said.
Honestly, I don't actually know anything outside of ping pong. That's the only thing that I've only like learned and can stay. No,
Yeah, right.
No, I'm
Not
from-
that that's true.
yeah,
I know.
yeah. I'm from Fort Wayne, and my home church is Broadway Christian.
Oh, really?
Yeah, downtown on Broadway.
Yeah.
And I've
Because
been
Broadway was a church plant.
I don't
right?
know that. I
Yeah,
think
I'm
so.
pretty
It
sure
was
it was.
I don't remember the exact history. I
'Cause isn't
remember
there a
being in a
coffee-
history
yeah,
thing.
yeah, but anyway.
Is there-
I think
is there another one?
Hillary went to Broadway, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a long time ago. But anyway, okay.
Yeah, so my home church is Broadway. I've been to some basic facts, I guess. I went to Northrop High School, and I've been to a couple different countries for mission trips, which is fun.
Which ones?
Thailand and Poland. I went to Poland with my mom the summer before 6th grade, and then
why Poland?
I know.
It was just our church was sending people out there, and we had missionaries there.
Interesting.
We helped with like an English camp. We just went and taught English. I was basically of no use because I was in 5th going into 6th grade, and I was just kind of there for the ride.
How long were you there?
Like a week, maybe.
Okay.
Wow.
It might have been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I don't remember. They had the greatest tea ever, and they had Mount Zakopane out in the distance. You would walk outside of the building that we were in for most of the time, and just this massive
That's cool.
mountain. It
So
was
it's
awesome.
pretty.
It was really cool.
I don't even know what Poland looks like.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I liked it, and there's lots of rolling hills. At least where we stayed. And
then what part of Thailand?
Bangkok. We went downtown Bangkok. There is I can't remember what it's called, but it was like this complex where they are a haven for people who are escaping trafficking or it's also kind of like a place for missionaries to settle, and not settle, but just rest and take a break. It was fun. I went with my youth group, and we like painted this giant wall around it. I did cross country then. That's another fun fact about me. I did cross country then, but I wasn't able to run because I wasn't allowed to leave the complex on my own, which was interesting.
So were you training for something or?
No, just cross country.
Okay.
I just had to run.
Yeah, like you're supposed to run all the time.
Right.
Like, that's the whole runner thing.
Well,
right?
I guess
Like,
that's
you just
true.
never stop
That's
running.
training.
You don't stop.
That sounds great.
You never stop running? Yeah, it's always good for you. You end up on crutches every time
Right,
it
I
happens.
know. Yeah.
So it's like a bad idea for
Yeah,
you.
twice
You need
now.
to pick something else.
I can't though.
Huh?
I can't.
You can't
I
pick
get to
something other
run
than
January
run?
1st, so.
Okay. Yeah, no, Thailand, I thought Bangkok, it surprised me. When I went there, I was thinking, all these other countries are backwards. Like Bangkok is.
No, it's the tourist capital of the world.
Really?
Yeah,
It's
it
a
is.
city. I mean, it's not like Seattle,
But it's
or something,
clean.
but it's nice.
It's very, like their malls, like it was very modern. I guess is
Really?
the right word that I would have never thought that until I went there. But
Was Thailand the place where those soccer boys got trapped in the?
Yes, actually, I was there, not in the cave, but I was at the I was like in the mall, and there's like this giant mall. It was really cool. It's like 7
Probably the
stories
one
tall,
that
and
you're talking about.
Each level had a different like world civilization theme. It was
Whoa.
really cool.
I love themes.
But we were eating at the top, and I remember looking at the news, and like they were talking about it. Like I don't think it was happening at the time that I was there, but it was like talking about it as if it was a recent, like it recently happened, and I was like, wow, like
Yeah, that was a huge event.
Like this is happening here, and I'm on the other side of the world from where I live.
Yeah,
Right.
that's crazy.
So,
right.
They made a movie into it, and it's really good.
You've seen the movie?
Yeah, they just made it, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really good.
So anyway, went to Northrop, went on mission trips. Tell us, other things that you love to do, things that you're interested in, other than running.
other than
Runners love running.
I play some video games.
Xbox, PS4.
Xbox.
Okay.
I never.
Is there a difference?
I wanted so badly a Wii growing up, and I wanted one. I was like, I need to get this. And then one Christmas, my dad was like, "We got something for you." And then I was like, "What is it?" I was expecting a Wii, and it was an Xbox 360. I was like,
You were devastated.
oh. I wasn't devastated because we got the Kinect, like the Xbox 360 Kinect.
Which is
I know, what is that?
It's like a motion sensor, so you can do similar things. It's not as
like
accurate
the
as a
Wii.
Wii,
Yeah.
but it's similar, and I think that's what my dad was going for. But yeah, like I think a Wii would have been better.
Did
for
he
my
want the
mental
game?
health.
Did he want whatever that was, the Xbox or something? Did he
What?
want to play
Your
it?
dad's not a gamer.
No,
right?
no.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've tried, and it doesn't work. My dad's very like he's a busy guy. Like he's a middle school teacher. We actually started 6th grade at the same time. Not his education, but my education.
It sounds like, yeah, that sounds great.
Right.
Yeah, we had the first day of 6th grade together. That was kind of cool.
Was he your teacher?
No, actually, he didn't want to. He didn't want to be my teacher. That
I
sounds
understand.
bad,
No,
but
yeah.
it was for like, oh, if I'm right and somebody else is wrong, they could just blame it on my dad.
Right, especially being new.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
But he taught at Northrop?
No, he taught at Shawnee Middle School.
But
it's
feeds to
right
Northrop.
it's literally right down the road. We live like 5 minutes away.
Right.
But yeah, so he's super super like talented, and he just is good at everything. He does drums for our church.
Oh, cool.
He used to do some worship, which was fantastic. And then and he also does like a talk show, a library talk show.
Whoa.
And
a library talk show.
I know. What is that?
So at the Allen County Public Library, there's they have like a studio where you can like do shows and stuff.
That's neat.
The shows on there are fine. They're not great because they're pretty low quality. But I don't know what my dad. He actually does. He does a lot of the stuff on like PowerPoint and like cheap software. But it's actually really funny. Like one of my friends and I just watched like part of Between Two Ferns.
Between what?
Between Two Ferns.
That's a book?
It's a movie.
Oh.
And it's basically it's just making fun of it is the movie version of a show called that. And it's just a talk show. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is just what my dad does. And it's just as funny. And these people are like Zach Galifianakis and all these other famous actors. And then my dad's like, I get some person doing hula hoop stuff and some like just other high profile local person. And it's just as good.
So at the library, he does a talk show about books.
I'm still
confused. Wait, what? It's about the talk show, I thought, right?
Yeah, it's just a talk show, just about what that person does as a career, like for a career.
Okay.
Like he has guests on or something?
He has guests.
Oh, okay.
See, you didn't know
I
either.
didn't, but
I got lost in between the red fern grows.
You did.
Two ferns and other stuff, and I thought it was like a book club.
The red fern grows, maybe.
Yeah. Hey, that's a good movie. Have you seen the red fern grows?
I've not seen the movie. I've read the book when I was in like elementary school.
Did you cry?
I did not because I was like
because you don't care about dogs.
No.
Is that a new movie?
No, Where the Red Fern Grows is an old movie.
Did they remake it though?
17th century or something.
Did they remake it though?
No.
Because somebody told me not to watch this one movie. No.
You should watch it.
I will not after what you just asked. No.
You just learned this about Jonah. He thinks dogs aren't going to heaven either.
I think they are, so I don't care what you guys think.
Yeah, I actually hate dogs, I guess.
You do?
I'm kidding.
I can't be on this podcast anymore.
Glad you asked him.
I'm really glad I sent my dog away.
I'm so glad you asked him on the podcast. Yes.
I'm glad Roman is over with Rayanne.
That's where you left him?
Yes, he's being babysat.
Yeah.
What about your mom?
My mom, okay, so she was a stay-at-home mom until, how old was I? It was like maybe 4 years ago, 5 years ago, or maybe 3. But then she's a very secretarial type, and she worked for Master Consultants, which is like a business consulting thing, which is pretty like that's a hefty thing. And she was doing that full time, and then she switched from that to it's called Lighthouse. It's a men's. It's like a men's house.
Yeah, men's recovery home.
I don't think she's the co-owner of it, but she's like second in command or whatever.
That's
and
awesome.
she walked on and they're like, we want you here. And
so can I ask why? Like, does she have I don't know, is there something pulling her there? Like, is there a reason?
I don't know if there's a specific reason, but she's very good at that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And she likes like the business side of, I think, counseling is what I understand.
Okay.
And yeah, again, she's just really good at it. And she's really found like right where she needs to be. And like God's really put her in very specific places, because when she was looking to move from her last job, like she got like, as she was thinking about it, she didn't even like leave yet. Like she was thinking about it. She got like 16 like job offers. Yeah, I know, that's insane. And like that's crazy.
That is crazy. Wow. So you have other siblings?
Yeah, I've got 3 other siblings.
Younger than, I assume, because you said 3 years ago?
Yeah, I'm the oldest. Yeah, there's I have a brother that's let's see, I'm 20. He's 17, and then my sister is 14, and then my youngest brother is 11.
Wow.
3 years
You guys are like close. Sort of in age.
No,
Well, I mean, not
11
between
to
the
20?
Well,
Yeah, I
yes,
mean,
I guess I
that's
wasn't
really-
considering him. But
Almost
yeah.
twice his age, but
Yeah. That's like my siblings. I'm like twice their age.
I'll be
well,
twice
I'm
his
not.
age in 20 years.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Exactly.
it's not.
Yeah. So how'd you end up at HU then?
Great question.
What do you mean? Like,
I mean, I ask this to everybody who comes to HU. Is like, did you
Just why
travel
there?
to different? Yeah. Why that? Or did you go to different
Yeah.
colleges? Did you look around at different places? Like, what was the attraction to
Yeah.
HU? And are you finding that,
mhm.
Today, at the college, what you were looking for in the beginning?
Yeah. I think for me, like initially senior year, I wanted to be a bio major because that was my favorite class in high school.
Oh,
and then I
wow.
decided that wasn't going to be a good idea.
So,
I didn't decide it wasn't
so
going to
you
be a
would
good idea.
decide, like, because you loved biology, that you wanted to be a biology major.
I just thought, I hated all my other classes, so
Oh.
I'll do this.
I'm only asking because it's
And then, well, the thing is, like halfway through senior year, I was like, I actually sat down and thought about it.
okay.
And I was like, okay, actually, I am good at counseling people. People come to me out of nowhere to like ask for advice and stuff, and I have the skills. I'm not perfect at it, but I have like the mindset and stuff for counseling. And so I just thought, you know what, I'll do that. And the two colleges I had in mind was Huntington and Grace, because of their psychology programs.
Because they both have great ones or something?
Yeah. Yeah. And so I just ended up coming to Huntington. It was actually really close. Like I almost went to Grace. Then I just ended up coming to Huntington because I think the program's a little bit better. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it's a little cheaper here as well.
Really?
But I also have an aunt that, maybe it was 2 aunts. I know I at least had one aunt that went to HU. So like I had more connection to it as well.
Yeah, so talk a
Oh,
little bit
that's
about,
nice.
like, I'm interested about the whole, like, how you figured out that counseling was it. Like, you had people just come to you. Like, what does that look like? Like, people just be like, hey, I don't really know you, but I just want to lay out all my life problems.
Well, it's not random people. It's that'd be weird.
I don't know.
That's a good question, though.
I was trying to get that through
No,
my
that's
mind. It's
fair.
like, hey, see that kid going down the hall?
Yeah.
Listen, he's somebody I need to talk
Yeah,
to.
It's just like how I picked him up
something
on the side of the road and found him. So just like
yeah,
that.
it's something about me.
I know.
Yeah. So no, like it's usually just like a friend. I for some reason I have a lot of friends, and that's not all of my friends. I'm not gonna throw all my friends under the bus, but like I have a lot of friends that do have issues and
Right.
have a lot of problems, and that's just how the world is.
Mhm.
But I couldn't tell you really. I'm like,
You're just the guy.
I'm just the guy that some people just were like, like I guess it's just the way I talk and the way I listen, and people are just like, wow, okay, like I'm gonna tell you these things that maybe I haven't told anybody before, or I can like confide in you or something.
I would say you got it from your mom. You know what I mean?
Probably.
I just heard you say that,
Yeah.
that was something that she was really good at. So I guarantee
Your
that
mom
passed
was
down.
a counselor?
no,
No, but she-
like the skills and
Yeah.
Oh, she had the skill set to
Yeah.
be okay.
Yeah. Because that Lifeline, or wait, not Lifeline. I'm thinking of somewhere else.
Lighthouse.
Yeah, that place.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so even though you're not professionally in it
Right.
yet, so talking through the idea of, hey, all my friends who have issues come to me, like that doesn't like weigh on you.
Mm.
That's not
Nope.
like, you can just keep it completely separate.
Mm-hmm.
How?
Like how? Like, what do you mean by separate? Like from what?
Like all these people are bringing their burdens,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
right? And you're listening to them, like, and that doesn't like weigh on you from the standpoint of, when I say keep it separate, you could be like, oh, I mean, that's good. I'll pray for you, but I'm moving on. Like it doesn't.
Okay, so sometimes it can get heavy because life is heavy, and sometimes I can end up taking it personally, and that's obviously not good, and that's something that I need to work with. But it's I just ask God for help because it's not my own wisdom. I mean, there's some things that I've learned on my own, but a lot of the things that almost all of the wisdom that I like possess is from other people or just like supernaturally given to me. Cause it's like, I've only lived for 20 years and I'm like basically a sponge to all of the mentors that I've had in my life that kind of feed into me. And I'm just, if somebody needs that wisdom, I just squeeze a little bit and a little will come out. And so it's just, a lot of it is, I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it. I just have the wisdom that other people have, kind of passed on to me.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm not really, sitting down with somebody necessarily in front of a fire and then like
Singing
tell me,
Kumbaya.
tell me your problems. I don't do that. I just, help
Relationship.
people. Yeah. I just, as a friend, I'm like, here, this is wisdom that I've been told would help you. And it almost every time it helps. The only times that I've noticed that it doesn't help is when I don't ask God for help or I am quick to give the advice. If I'm quick to give the advice, then it's just like, well, okay, maybe I didn't listen enough. And I literally just came out of chapel today. And the guy speaking was talking about, it was Elijah in the desert and how he was just really struggling. And the whole thing was like, oh, there's the wind and the earth and the fire that God wasn't in, but then, is the whisper at the end. And they reminded me of Job. All these guys were giving advice. Some of it was like good advice, but they just didn't understand the whole like story. And so part of it is I'm not only here to, tell you what's good for you, because sometimes you already know. But I'm just here to be here for you because nobody else is. And part of that is giving advice, but also part of that is just, sitting here and listening to you. Because sometimes and I can't say this as a professional counselor because I'm not, but like part of counseling is that person talking it out. And so like when they say it out loud and they hear themselves say that, it's like,
yes,
oh shoot, I have this problem that I didn't know I had, or, there's this issue that I've really been wrestling with and I've really, internalized it. And then it's really not a big deal. And it's a lot of overthinking. And I think part of it has to do with COVID, just the fact that people were like isolating themselves intentionally or unintentionally. It just happened. And with all of that, it's like, I can't talk to anybody. So I'm going to internalize all this stuff. And then it gets worse and festers. And I just want to be somebody who can.
So you think that for your generation, because I'm trying to process this because
the COVID thing.
I
knew you were going to hit on that.
You guys don't ever see each other anyway. Like you talk to each other on your phones all the time, and like, what was the true isolation? But you're saying that's not like.
I think that's part of it. I think it's part of it. Because I think we were already going down that track. Like, I'm not any better than the next person, but we've already been going down the track of like isolating ourselves from people, but COVID was just kind of
made
like
it easier.
It was just a boom.
Yeah.
It was, now I don't have to talk to people face to face because I'm not allowed to.
Right.
And so, it was just a catalyst for it.
Right. Which then you said people internalize a lot. So some of what's coming out today is stuff that you think happened during, those times.
Interesting.
I think it's only going to get worse just because people in their like foundational developmental like years are going through this and they're like, like they don't understand. Some people just don't understand like how to interact with people. And, to me, it feels cliche, but like, it's so real. Like these people just don't get it. And, it's just something that needs to be worked out. And, I think there's a level of, it may never be worked out fully, but, I can do what I can and we can get as many people to do what they can.
Yeah. So without like obviously divulging what people have said to you, so from a peer standpoint, a lot of people have come to you. So if it's been lately or if it's been, years back, what is the biggest thing that people are dealing with? I mean, is there like a reoccurring theme that like just continues to come up to be like, man, I got to talk to you about, or this is something that's really weighing on me, or this is something that's really, been difficult? Like, is there a theme that people are dealing with?
There's obviously a lot of things, but I think if you were to narrow it down to a theme, it'd probably just be anxiety, and the different ways that it kind of manifests, whether that's anxiety about identity. That's a big one.
Ooh, yeah.
Like identity, like who they are. Because if you leave somebody up to decide for themselves who they are, they don't know who they are. How are you supposed to determine who you are?
The world will.
If you have a problem within you, how are you going to find something within you to fix that problem? You got to look outside of yourself. So just anxiety about who am I, anxiety about the things around me. Like I don't know how to interact with people, so I'm just going to leave it. I'm just not going to interact with them. Or something stressful is coming up and I don't know how to react to that stress. Even if it's like good stress, like homework, unfortunately, like
homework's good stress.
I know.
it's good stress in the idea, like
it's go pay off.
Yeah. I got it's not like I just had a family member pass away.
Oh,
that's different. That's a negative stress.
Yeah, for sure.
Then you got like good stress. It's like, oh, this is actually like character building and stuff. So I think stress and anxiety, a lot of it has to do with probably just the way that people aren't talking to each other and the kind of taboo of all these different things. Like things are becoming less spoken about and therefore they're like not okay to
like
go
what?
through. Like just anxiety in general. Like people talk about anxiety a lot, but it's like avoided. Like you gotta avoid pain, avoid suffering.
Oh.
But it's like it's okay. It's okay to be anxious. You just talk about it and give it to somebody else. Like don't give it to somebody else. But
right.
Let other people in on that. And another thing is like I've noticed that. Gosh, who told me this? I don't know if you guys know who Eric Lynch is. He works for an organization called UCO. But he's told me like, it's okay to be bored. Like being bored is okay. And
that's a hard thing for today.
That's one thing that I was like, crap, that's something that I don't like being bored and therefore I'm going to avoid it. And that just creates a cycle of hurry.
Yeah.
It's just people aren't willing to talk to each other about it. And because of that, it just kind of festers in each other. And then it's just a disconnection and isolation from other people.
Yeah. I'm trying again. So I'm going to show my age. Like I have never.
I can see it in the beard.
The hair, the beard. I don't get this is the thing I can't ever remember talking in high school or talking with people. Maybe it's just because nobody came to me. Like nobody was talking about this. Like anybody ever being like, man, I'm really struggling trying to figure out who I am. Like
really?
I'm Mike. Like that's who I like I wasn't I don't is that a new thing or is that a
maybe?
Why is that? Why is everybody struggling
with who they are?
Well, what are you trying to figure out?
I mean, I think there's
what are you trying to figure out of who you are? What's that even mean?
Well,
I'm confused of what are you trying to figure out? What is the answer of?
I don't know.
And I know there is, so I'm not making fun of it. I'm just trying to say, I'm trying to think in my mind, what would I be thinking through of trying to figure out who I am?
I think there's a lot of comparison today. So I think that can be confusing too.
Meaning you want to be like somebody else, so
there's just so many things that you like, people that you could be like, or things that you could be like, or lives that you want, that I think it could make you like have a question about your identity and who you are and what you're supposed to do and your purpose and all of that. Because I mean, I feel like there's so much more, especially with the internet, Instagram and all social media only shows like the good things about your life. So that's confusing, especially to women for their identity. I think it's comparisons.
So do you see it as much in men as you do women, or is it more women that have identity crisis? I'm not saying.
It's an epidemic.
I'm just asking. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it a more of a woman thing than it is a man thing?
I don't really know.
We can ask Corinne.
Corinne doesn't have a mic.
Yes, she does.
They didn't give
Nick
her a
has a
mic.
mic.
Oh, there it is.
She does have a mic.
Is it more women than it is men, Corinne?
I think that's debatable.
Ooh, debatable.
I meet with a lot of men.
No, I
See?
know. So that's what I mean. So there's as many men that have identity crisis.
I think women are more vocal about it. Kind of like what you said. I think women are more apt to seek help. I think men, like we've talked about on Sunday, pride comes in, and some men don't seek help until it's
too late.
Yeah, that's what I've seen at least.
Yep.
And how does having an identity, because again, I'm just dumb. So somebody help me understand this. How does having an identity crisis manifest itself? Like, what happens? How do people act? What do they do? That's what I'm trying to see. Like, what happens when you don't know who you are? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, and then I think that's where most of the questions come from. They're not actually like asking me like, who am I?
Yeah.
And what am I?
Am I a dog? Or...
That's not what they're asking. But
Yeah,
like,
I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like bad. I'm just trying to
Right.
in my mind, I'm trying to get it figured out.
And that's part of the question process is like they're questioning, like they're not questioning overtly, like saying out loud the question, but the theme behind those things, like the things that they ask is that like sexuality, like that's a big deal for people. And it's
sexuality.
That's what I was gonna say next.
It's finding identity in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Finding identity in that is something that people, especially for our culture, is like that's a big deal because it's so personal. And I think
LGBTQING.
No, wait. You got I want to make sure I get this. So sexuality meaning like if you're a man or a woman, or sexuality and like if you're way you look. Again, I'm just trying to get.
I don't really know if I don't know if I think it, to me, like I've only noticed that people just don't know that in general. Like they can't differentiate. Like they might say that they do know, but I don't think they really understand. I think they're just kind of all encompassing. Like you can look a certain way and then also like identify as a certain way, and then also like feel a certain way and whatever. I don't know if that's what you were asking.
So they don't know if they're male or female. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just trying to figure out.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
So what? And I'm going to try to put it in stupid terminology for me.
Mic terms.
No, like
what is
again,
it, Mike?
So destructive behavior. Like you're looking at, like I'm doing this. This is what you're saying. People are up. Like I'm doing this, and then it goes back to part of the reason I'm doing this is because I don't know who I am.
Yes.
Right. Like that's what you're seeing is like these certain things are going on in my life. And then you go back to the core. So part of the core is because I don't know who I am. So sexuality or sexual behavior, things happening, you go back to part of the problem is identity.
Yeah.
Right. And
if you find your identity in that, then sure, like your biology is, you can't really change that very easily. But like that is not something that will last forever. If you find yourself as like, if you just look at it in a perspective, I am a Christ bearer and I bear the image of God. That is who I am. That should affect the decisions that you make. Now, sometimes you do have to remind yourself because, we're sinful, but just reminding yourself like, this is who I am. Therefore, my life should look like this.
Right. And you're saying that that's what people are struggling with. They're
people are
with
finding identity in things that are temporary and don't hold the same weight.
Yeah. So can you give me some examples of like what people find their identity in, which then leads to behaviors like Jenny?
Well, I don't necessarily know like if what I found my identity in, but I guess it was more so like worthlessness for myself, for my own life.
Okay.
So I didn't see myself as a child of God. I saw myself as like less than. So therefore, whenever I went out so I was addicted to drugs. I'm a recovering addict, and I would do anything and everything that wasn't like godly. You know what I mean? Like, since I didn't care about myself, I would put myself in vulnerable situations.
So the identity of defining yourself as not worthy
right.
led to behaviors
Yes.
that were destructive.
Yeah, because I would put myself in bad situations.
Right.
Or let things happen that shouldn't have happened.
Right.
So
Yeah. And so what reinforces, if everybody's struggling with identity, like how do you help reinforce the idea of who you truly are, and how do you help them stay in that place? Because it sounds like
love.
I
think love.
Love.
Yeah, like showing them God's love.
Okay.
For some, I think. I think a lot of people don't understand love, like God's love. So I don't know. I think all identity issues revolve around, I mean, obviously you don't know yourself, but I think you don't care about yourself either.
Do you think most identity issues come from the standpoint of you don't care about yourself?
In a sense.
Yeah, because I still like, how easy is it for somebody, like if we're talking to them, to be like, you know what, you have an identity, and like you're finding your identity in being worthless, but Jenny, you need to find your identity in Christ. Like, does that make sense?
No, not.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, how does that to anybody? Like, I know it's true. Like, we know it's true that you need to find your identity in Christ. But what does that even really mean?
I like by showing God's love.
That's what I'm saying.
So, like,
you're saying from an action standpoint.
Yes. Oh, yeah, definitely.
You're going to do things which show what it looks like to find your identity.
Right. Because somebody that's questioning, I feel like they're not going to, like, actions speak louder than words. They've heard that all their life. They're not going to understand it without seeing it, without experiencing it.
Okay.
The phrase "actions speak louder than words" is still words. So showing
ooh,
them
that's good. I like that.
Showing them that actually acting it out isn't just words. It's you're actually doing the phrase.
Right.
Now I heard this in a sermon. Now please correct me if it was your sermon, but
it was somebody's.
But it was somebody's. But it was somebody was saying that like there was a homeless there was like a group of homeless people that was living in like a, I don't remember what it was. There's like a drain or something. And there was like this city ordinance to like get rid of them. And somebody was some person that was like in the church was outside of this whole situation. And they were well acquainted with one of the homeless people. And, they're like, oh, okay, like I'm going to go to this homeless person and be like, hey, like you got to leave because you're going to get kicked out. And then you're just going to have you're actually going to have nothing. And, there's a group of people with, sleeping bags and boxes and food and whatever. But when the example was like, he went to that guy and was like, hey, like, let's go, like we let's go find somewhere else, or let's go get some help. And the guy was like, no, I don't want to leave because this is who I am. I am homeless. Like what do I do outside of being homeless? Like he's found his identity in being homeless. And I don't remember what the outcome of this was. I just remember that the point that struck me was just like, this guy found his identity in something that was fragile and that was temporary, as temporary as being homeless. Like, he's getting moved. That means it's temporary. And so just finding your identity in something that is lasting and forever and permanent really creates that, it's the building a house on a rock. It's not building a house on sand, something that washes away over erosion or time or whatever. Building your foundation on something that is solid and it's a firm foundation is incredibly important.
Yeah.
And you can put a bunch of safeguards. You can put sentry turrets and like lawn gnomes and other scary things on your front yard to prevent things, but the rain's still going to come and wash your house away.
Right.
And that's that's just, I mean, that's part of doing rash things to maintain the identity in something that's still temporary.
Yeah. And so once somebody does identify, like I'm a believer in Christ, but has an ongoing struggle, like what are things that they can put in place to not like if the struggle is whatever is causing you to keep regressing back to, I don't know who I am. What are some safeguards then for people out there that struggle with identity? What should they be doing? Should they spend less time on social media? Should they surround themselves with certain people? Like, what are some of the action steps that a person who struggles with identity should do?
I think one thing they could do is just cling to a community.
Yeah.
Especially a community of people who do build their houses on foundations, on strong foundation. Like, sure, having your life kind of fall on the shoulders of somebody else, that's tough, especially for that person who's getting everything piled onto. But if you just like give that to a community of people, like, I don't know, a men's group or something, or a church, even, like, that just distributes across the whole church. It's not a big deal anymore.
Right.
Like that church can hold that weight, but like it's easy for one person to just be like, oh, I don't trust a bunch of people, so I'm going to just trust one person and just lay everything out on that person, when they could go to a whole community. And sure, it might be uncomfortable, but there's growing pains. So you're just going to have to deal with that. But like there's more people that can help and can offer more and stuff. So I think getting connected with a church or like a group that'd probably be the best, is my guess.
Yeah, well, one of the things you said in the beginning is you've had a lot of mentors in your life. Like, how did that work? Did you go ask for them? Did they just say, hey, I'm pouring into you?
There's a lot of, I've had a couple youth pastors. My dad's a huge mentor. I've had some family friends that are just mentors. And I don't really look for it, which is kind of funny, but that's why I think, it's like God-given, because it's like, I just kind of am living life, and then God's given put these people in my way. I'm like, oh, okay, these people are challenging me and giving me things that I should know and may not need to know until later down my life. So,
yeah. So two things. So one, the mentor relationship, you would say when you call somebody a mentor would be somebody that would say, hey, I'm going to challenge you on this stage of your life, or challenge you in these things, and then give you steps of what to do. Like, is that part of the challenge? Is part of the challenge to say?
I think there's an element to that. Like, like if your mentor is a lot older than you, or an age to where like they've been there, done that, they could give you pointers, and definitely that would be helpful, especially for somebody who would have no idea what to do. But part of also being a mentor is just being a friend and available, and not being afraid to say, hey, like, you're an idiot. I think you said that last Sunday, like, you're an idiot. Not to me or anybody in the audience.
See, people do listen.
Well, no, because this was something we brought up last night. So in our men's group, we have young people, that are in our men's group. So there's guys that are my age, older. We had some high school kids, in there, and one person that was just out of high school. And so anyway, we were talking about this idea of a mentor-mentee relationship. What does it look like? And one of the things that was brought up is that there are a lot of people who would come to a younger generation and say, hey, here's some challenges. But a lot of times the younger generation is not going out and looking for it, which I was thinking, like, is that really true? Because when I was young, I was always looking for somebody to make me better. Like, and I feel like for most of my life, it's been like, I need somebody in my life to help me be better in my marriage and better with my kids and better, in different things in my life. And so I'd seek out people that could help me get better. And so what you were saying, and I'm not saying it's bad or good, but you're saying, well, I wasn't really even looking for it.
No, I think part of it is also like, probably just the way you grew up, like the way you were raised. I'm sure you were raised a certain way, and I don't know what that looks like, but, I'm not going to say that my dad didn't raise me to be a better person, but, like, it wasn't as emphasized as probably other people were. And, I think we should, I mean, I think that should be a thing. Like, I think we should be looking to be better, just better people, but also like better Christians and better, husbands and whatever. But I think it just, to me, like, it just wasn't like I need to go look for it thing.
Same. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really wasn't taught that either. That should be like an important part of your life.
Well, me either.
Okay. That's just your personality, though?
Well, I don't know. Like,
Probably.
that's what I'm trying to figure out. Because what was brought up last night is that, so when we had marriage retreats here at Life throughout the course of, the history of Life Church, Sherry and I had went on all of them. And people were like, what are you going on a marriage retreat for? Are you guys having problems? And I'm like, no, like, isn't the whole idea to work on your marriage?
Yeah.
Like, to get better and to go and to, and or to read books together or to challenge each other or to sit down and ask questions like, how can I love you better? Because this is what Sarah and I have now been talking about. Like, so for Sarah and I, we're like, okay, how do we now, love each other well? And how do we work on loving each other well? And we get to the end of the week and how did I do? And how, you know what I mean? Like, how is this going? Because I would just assume if you want to grow, you're always working on it. Like, I just felt like that's just a normal part of life. And I'm surprised, like last night at the men's group, we were talking, like that was a foreign theme.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm going to work on bettering different areas. Like, I want to learn to be a better husband. I want to learn to be a better father. I want to learn to be a better preacher. I want to learn to be a better friend. Like, I want to learn from other people. Like, I just felt like that's and nobody taught me that. I just felt like that's what you're supposed to do. If God has called us, because this was the thing last night. So we know this from Jewish culture, right? So Jewish culture was always
Nick was just walking over there. I know. I side-eye. I did. I tried not to look, but I had to look with one eye.
Jewish culture, this was very important. Like, you always pass down something, right? So if it was your trade, you pass it down. If your dad's a fisherman, you became a fisherman. It was always passed down. Culturally, it was very important. In fact, there was honor in passing something down and honor in learning something from. Like, that was a whole cultural thing.
That's cool.
So all of the Jewish people would have known at the time that it's very important to prepare yourself for something being passed down, to learn from. Like, they would seek out to learn from, because they knew someday they were going to have to take it over. So they would have understood that, and they would have wanted that in their life. And so when we were talking about Elijah, it was he knew that he was called to be a prophet, but someday he was going to have to pass it on, right? Like, someday he was going to pass that on to somebody else. And I was like, I think it's weird. Like, culturally, we don't seek that out anymore. Like, we don't look at the life that God has given us is made to be multiplied, not added to. Right? That's what I was saying to the men's group last night, because multiplication looks so much different than addition. But if you're going to multiply, you're specifically going to sit down and multiply yourself out into other people. So that not that they'll become like you, but they'll learn from you, right? And they'll take the traits that they have. And I just thought it was weird that they said, and I don't know what you guys would say, but they would say the majority of people are not seeking on a regular basis how to have a better marriage, how to be a better father, how to do, like, they're not constantly seeking how to grow in those areas. They're just kind of going down the road, and if somebody tells them how to do it better, or they run into a roadblock, then they'll learn. Is that true? Not true?
Yeah, I think I was just thinking. Yeah, like it's I get the idea that, like, we're very individualistic. It's all about me and not about anybody else. And I think that's just part of our culture, but it seeps into our the church as well. Like, I don't have to disciple people because it's about me being a good person, like you said. It's like I just need to be better, and then. You're just looking at yourself, and you're looking at yourself, and you completely ignore the other people around you that also need to be, like, helped and stuff. Like, I mean, you've gotten past the point of getting rid of the plank in your eye. You're getting to the point where, like, your eye is so clean, like you can get rid of the speck in the other guy's eye now, but we're just not going that step. It's I just, it makes sense. Like, I was challenged lately. I was really, this is maybe a month and a half to 2 months ago, but I was just like, I was telling kind of another mentor, I was like, it's like, God's really not showing up in the way that I want him to show up. Red flag. But he was just like, he's like, Jonah, it's not about you. I'm like, oh, you're right. Yeah. And I've been thinking about that more and more lately. It's really not about me. I had a conversation about this last night. I'm a secondary character. I'm not a background character, but I'm not the main character either. I'm a secondary character, and I have to be okay with that. I'm not going to show up in every episode, but I'm going to show up in some of them, and I'm going to have an important role. Like Samwise Gamgee is an incredibly important secondary character, but he's not the main character.
Who?
Samwise Gamgee, Lord of the Rings.
I know, I didn't know either.
Oh my god!
I was just trying. I thought it was some guy.
I got it now, but I'm there for a while. I thought you said some Jesus. Like, is this another name for Jesus?
No.
Yeah, you missed that part in the Bible.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
It was right next to Yahweh.
Got it.
But it's like, we're a secondary character and we have to be okay with that. I've noticed lately that like when we pray, a lot of it, obviously a lot of it's very selfish and self-centered. Like, I need help with this. I need this. I need this. I need this. And a lot of it, like, at least I've seen myself and other people just kind of ignore talking about other people, or they talk about other people and just, like kind of involve themselves. I know I've done that. Another thing about prayer that I've noticed is that it's really easy. Like, if you really pay attention, it's really easy to recognize that you're praying. Who are you praying to? Like, who do we pray to? Like, I've like taken a step back and just like, look, when I'm praying in like a group, I'm like, how am I wording myself? And would I say that on my own prayer time?
Right.
Like,
because you're saying the cool words when you're in a
saying
group.
cool words. I sound good. And,
Yeah,
you're like the professional prayer.
Yes.
Yeah, right. And like, I'm like, am I just talking to them?
Yeah.
And I think that's just another example of
Impress
like, it's
them.
actually about me, not about God.
Because back to the like individualism or selfishness piece of it, and I know this is, Corinne over there, professional counseling, is probably going to throw something at me when I say
Do
this.
it.
But I was like, part of the problem, I think, when we were talking about identity is that people spend so much time thinking about themselves and their identity that if they would just think more about other people and serving other people, you wouldn't have so much time to be confused. Like, I think you would find yourself in serving other people. Now, I know from personal experience, you can lose yourself in that too, right? Like, you can lose yourself in just giving yourself over to everybody else and not taking care of yourself. But what I've found is I find my identity in serving other people, right? And that I find who I am, because in serving other people, I see some of my strength and I see some of my weaknesses, and you have, because of that relationship or that whatever you're doing back and forth as you serve them, you learn who you are and you learn how God made you and you learn what you're good at and you learn what you're not very good at. And I just think that if you just, not this is what people are doing, but just like sitting around thinking, oh my gosh, who am I? And, trying to process that whole identity, I'm like, just get out and start serving people and loving on people and getting to that place. And maybe that would be, because what you said earlier, and I think it goes together, part of our problem today is just we're just downright selfish.
Yeah.
Right. And we're thinking way too much about ourselves and we're self-promotion or whatever those things are. And it's leading into a lot of destructive things and a lot of destructive places that we can end up because all we focus on is us, right? Instead of just our place in serving, showing the action piece that you guys were talking about earlier, like how to show the love of Christ through, serving other people. So something to just think about, for all of us, as we're trying to do that. And I don't know that that's the case, but I just think that maybe we think too much
Oh, absolutely.
Instead of just do.
Yeah.
And if you were doing more, maybe you wouldn't have so much time to get caught up in the thinking realm that could lead us down some crazy paths, I think.
Slippery slopes.
Yeah, in that. So real quick, before we get to questions, because we're almost at an hour. So tell us a little bit about what's going on at HU, right? Like how's college life, how's, college community. I mean, tell us some good things that are happening over there or some things that are going on that you're excited about.
Yeah. I think to preface this, like I remember going into HU I really wanted a Christian community because as much as I love the people that as much as I love my home church and like my friends at school, I really didn't have a community. I really struggled to like find people to actually be honest with. In fact, last year, I really was the first time like somebody actually, and it was my roommate, of course, who called me out on he was just like, "You like this person?" I'm like, "No, I don't." and then it's like, but he lived in my room, so I couldn't really escape it. But it was like the idea, I was being vulnerable for the first time. And, I don't know if that's like a not normal thing, but, for me, it was like just revolutionary. Like, I was like, I wanted it, but I was so afraid of it.
Right.
And I'm so glad I put myself in that position because, that's exactly what I needed. But I think, I think I came to HU looking for that.
And you found it?
And I found it, especially in my floor. I live on Right Second, which is fantastic. Lots of shenanigans going on that floor.
How much fun.
Yeah, it's great.
I know.
But yeah, so like I found guys that I can be real with and be honest with on my floor, but I'm also finding a Christian community that I wasn't really able to find in my church. Not because there's anything wrong with them.
No, for
I
sure.
just couldn't connect.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And I find that in my friends, like the Christian community that we have there. Last year, I think I would describe the spiritual life, like the average spiritual life on our campus last year as dead. It was bad. It was really, really bad. I don't know if you've heard that. But then like second semester last year, it really, God did something. I don't even know what he did, but he kind of stoked a flame. And then some people were like, I've heard the example of like popcorn, it gets heated and then just popcorn after popcorn just pops. And, I just happened to be one of those people. I remember it was sometime early February and I just remember crap, I've been living in a lukewarm faith my whole life. And I didn't realize that until, that happened. And then, things just, the ball started rolling. We did worship nights on Friday nights and, and that was great. And then I went into I went to be a camp counselor this last summer, which is so much fun.
Where at?
Mishawanda.
Okay.
It's on my pants.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, that was also foundational for my faith because that was it's a Christian camp. And the slogan is, God first, safety second. And it's it's kind of a joke, but also kind of not.
So do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Jump off of a building. I don't know.
Right. But I'm getting on a tangent. Yeah. So our last year we were pretty rough. This year we're seeing new leadership. We're seeing chapels are actually really good. Last year they were terrible. This year they're actually crap. I'm being challenged now. I'm actually hearing something that, hurts a little bit on the inside. Last year was just
Do you think that was because of you inside, how you have changed?
It could have been, but I've also heard from other people that it's different, which also could mean that, maybe they have changed as well.
Right.
But I don't really know. Either way.
Yeah.
They've gotten better.
Things are opening up.
It's a lot more open. There has been a lot of spiritual warfare going on our campus. I can't believe it's only been 3 months.
It feels much longer.
It feels like 3 years.
Wow.
Just the amount of things that have been happening, very real things.
Right.
Very some things are very scary. Like you, especially, there's just a lot of stuff that just are scary, especially for people who don't have any experience with like spiritual warfare or anything. It's spooky, but you know, I dealt with a lot of it over the summer, which is helpful actually. But yeah, so like our just campus is just really opening up, and we're seeing a lot of new life. We had a lot of baptisms lately, just from students just who want to get baptized, which is great. And we're actually next, it's Thursday. I think Thursday we're having a baptism chapel. We're going to be at College Park, and we're just going to have a bunch of people get baptized there. Yeah. That's good.
What time?
Just normal chapel time, 11.
Okay.
11 to noon. Might go long. Depends on how many people get baptized. But so it went from dead to we're sick, but we're growing and healing at some point. One of my friends, Zay, he was telling me that because they went on a prayer walk, and so our Plex is under renovation. That seems irrelevant, doesn't it? But he said that when he was praying over the Plex, that he got the sense that God was telling him that that the Plex was the renovations for the Plex was a kind of like an example and a visual representation of what we're going through.
Cool.
We're going through construction, and it won't be done for a couple more years. It won't be done till like 2024, 25. But he said that from what I understand, like I don't think it'll be like, it won't be perfect. Like life won't be perfect, but we're going through that process of new leadership. People are moving in and out. Our foundation is changing. Like we're not built on certain things anymore. I don't know what happened previously, but like we're going from like just everybody's lukewarm to like, okay, there's something stirring here. The enemy's actually like attacking us now. And why is that? Well, it's because we're waking up. And so, like the Plex, like just in my head, it's just like the Plex is just, it's under renovation. When that's done, we're supposed to see new growth.
That's like so cool. Was that was a vision of his?
Yeah.
That's really neat.
Well, I was walking around praying, doing
I love
the prayer
that.
walk. Yeah. Well, that's good because we can, again, I think we all need to be, praying as revival, as building whatever's happening over at HU, that we can all be praying that, because that's always what happens. As soon as it starts, Satan gets in and gets involved. And so we'll be praying through that with you guys. So, all right, Jenny, questions.
All right, here we go. So these questions that I'm about to ask you is from our texting group, which, right? We send out a text every week to let you know who the guest is so that you can ask questions and all that good stuff. And we will say the phone number later so you can sign up and be involved too. All right, here we go. Emily Krieger wants to know, she says, how difficult is it to navigate your work /school /biblical life when there are so many distractions in the world today? And what advice do you have for school seniors?
Well, I'm a sophomore.
I think she was saying like high school seniors.
For seniors.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, high school seniors.
High school senior making their decision into the future. Like, what would be some advice for them?
I think for me, I've noticed that like, I'm really busy. And something that I've been working through is I can handle this, but I need to invite God into it. I've noticed that I can find rest in God, but nothing else. There have been several weekends where I'm like, okay, I'm going to take a Sabbath and I'm going to not do anything. And then I find myself, dang, I played video games for like 5 hours and then watched YouTube, watched the Bengals lose again. And it was like, okay, like I just wasted my day. But if I invite the Lord into it and like take a nap and read a book and actually like read my Bible and, pray for a good amount of time, like I actually feel rested. I don't have to isolate myself. I can do it with community.
Yeah, for sure.
On Saturdays, I've been we started last weekend. We've been doing, we're going to do like a Lord's Day dinner on like Saturday nights, which I'm looking forward to.
Which is you're just going to eat dinner together?
Well, it's actually, so UCO is the organization that kind of is paired with Huntington, but they're like a branch of sort of the Spirit, and they have like this book, and it's like a tradition, like you're just kind of like an elongated like communion basically, but you're doing it with like a smaller group, and you're intentionally coming to the Lord to start your weekend and or Sabbath with like with God and with other people. And it's like it's a ceremony kind of. There is a Sunday like closing ceremony for it, but we didn't do it.
Right.
But it's
cool.
Great. Anyways, I went off again.
Story of my life. It's okay.
But like I think the best thing that I've learned recently is just don't overwork yourself. Take those rests and just make sure you have time to rest. Don't like pack your schedule just full of stuff. Right. Be mindful of busyness and hurry.
Yeah.
And actually like take time to sit back, rest. The most important part of my day is my morning devotions by myself, because if I didn't have that, I'd start my day, I don't know, probably on my phone or go rushing to class, and like sitting down and like reading a passage of, I'm going through the armor of God, but like if it just sit down and read something from the Bible and actually communicate with God, commune with him, then your day will probably go on just fine. But then like over time that really builds up.
Right.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Good.
All right. Tammy Gass wants to know, which you've answered both of these, but then there's another one. She says, what year is he in? So sophomore. And then what's his major? Psychology. And then she wants to know, are you related to Nathan and Audrey Lemmon?
I'm not.
He is not.
It's actually really funny. Like,
do you get asked that a lot or something?
Actually, surprisingly, no, I don't get asked, but I've never met another Lemmon outside of HU. Like I've never in my life.
Ever?
Never. And I'm like, this is so cool.
Because those are people that go to HU? Is that why she asked the question?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe they're just from Huntington. Oh, they are people that go to HU? Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it's like, there's people like me.
Right.
Right.
And you're not related to me? Right. How is that possible?
Right.
All right, Kaylin Griffith, she has 2 questions. What is your longest distance that you've ever ran? And what is your favorite Thanksgiving food?
Oh, man. The second one's hard.
Hard? Oh, I love
the first
the
one was, again, like 13 and a half miles probably. I did that during a long run. And then my favorite Thanksgiving food.
This is hard for you?
He's a runner. They don't eat any Thanksgiving
Yes, they do. They eat carbs.
I eat so much food. It's actually not well, I don't know.
You eat a lot of carbs.
I struggle to balance my food. But, probably green bean casserole. I like green bean casserole. And corn casserole is good too, but it depends on who makes that.
Corn casserole is so good.
Don't throw anybody under the bus, but,
Yeah. I won't name any names, but you have to,
Casseroles.
Green bean casserole is good.
Okay. Got it.
All right. Emily Miller, she says,
a white thing for me to say.
has your faith or relationship with God been tested with all of the recent cross-country allegations against HU since you are still currently on the team, ? Which yes, you are.
Yeah. I think I would say it was tested, but not in the way that like it was pushing me over. I was already in the process of like figuring out, my purpose here in college is not for me anyways. And, I remember struggling. There was one night I just went to one of our prayer rooms in Wright Hall, and I was like, I just wanted to talk to God. I was like, God, what do I do? Like, do you want me to stay on the team? Like, is this just a big, like, that you need to be done? Right. Or do you want me to persevere through this? Because I've been running for 6-7 years. And I've never not had a season without injury.
Ooh.
Like I've always been injured. In some way.
I understand that.
Running.
I understand
People
that, yeah.
don't want their kids to play football?
Running.
It's
frustrating. It's frustrating, and it really made me question, like, okay, like, am I just doing this because I want to, or am I doing this because you want to, or you want me to? And I think he gave me a sense of like this, like it's easy to say like, oh, I'm doing this to honor you, and then not.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's just an excuse to stay. And you know, it gave me a perspective of like, I'm not here because I wasn't built for running. I was built for ministry. And I need to, and this is a challenge for myself too, like, cause I just kind of heard this recently, but like, I need to step in and minister to my teammates more than I do. And you know, and they're probably looking at me like, what the heck? But you know, I need to step in. We do like a prayer circle before every practice. I need to pray. I don't need to sit there and be like, okay, who's praying next?
Right.
Like I need to, and it's funny because I don't do that anywhere else. It's just there that I kind of hesitate.
Right.
And that's
Because it's the place you're supposed to.
And that's exactly where I need to be doing it. So yeah, like I think it's tested my faith, but not in terms of like, because I'm wavering in it, but it's more of like it's challenging where I'm placing value and where my priorities are and who I'm looking to or what I'm looking to, for safety and rest. Yeah. Because I know running is definitely a big stress reliever for me because it's like it's physical.
Yes, it is.
It's exercise.
It is.
Many exercises. But you know, it's like, okay, now this is causing me stress. So it's not going to relieve any stress anymore. And so I have to find it in God and God only. So.
Yeah. All right. Robert Glover, he wants to know, how has God made impressions into your life throughout the week when you're not at church on Sunday? And this question is for all of us. And he says that he has listened to every episode on the podcast and he has not heard what that is from a day-to-day point of view, from what he can remember. It took 2 weeks. And when it comes to the book of works, where can I find that in my Bible? And what does this mean for me?
What? How far are we going with this? We'll be here for another 2 hours.
And where, because I had asked him what he meant by the last question, which was where can I find that in my Bible? And what does this mean for me as a sinner and guilty as charged? I love the show and keep it up. God bless. Robert Glover. Yeah. And I had asked him what he meant and could he elaborate? And he said that, yes, Mike and I have talked about the book of works and he wants to know what it is.
Yeah, so let's go back to the question that we could actually answer now.
The impressions.
It was just like the impressions. And again, not that we're going to avoid the question, but we're already way past time. Okay. So we can come back to it. And I think we can, again, address it, you know, at another time to work through the idea of the book of works. But what are the impressions? Was that the right word? Like, what are the...
He meant impressions. So what I understood and what I had asked him, and that's why he said yes, was... how do we stay close to God during the week when it's not Sunday?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think I make like a daily routine that like when I wake up, you know, when I wake up, I take my Zyrtec and go do my devos. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, I know
I'm just laughing about the Zyrtec thing.
Zyrtec and Jesus, they go together.
Yes, two things.
Yeah, but it's like, you know, some people have asked me like, well, are you doing this because it's a religious activity or are you doing this because you're actually trying to get a relationship with God? And, you know, it is a good question because it's like you have to recognize that question before you move on. And, you know, I've noticed that, you know, I want to do this, not because I've got to hit my daily devotions because I've missed some of them, but I'm okay with that. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I'm inserting God into my day. I'm inserting time with him into my day. And that just happens to be a devotional. Mm-hmm. It's not like I do this 7 times a day and then I do this 7 times a day. It's I'm just spending time with him for 30 some minutes. Yeah. And that's all I need. Or that's all I need. I want more, but I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
It's only 24 hours.
Mine would be devotions as well.
Yeah, mine would be, again, devotions, podcasts, books that I'm listening to, especially when I'm reading and or listening to autobiographies about people and what's happened in their life and the story, you know, behind their life and the things that have been going on. And again, it helps me navigate through just different ways of approaching relationship. And it's hunting season, being in the woods, right? So
there you go.
And to make it so if anybody, when we're going to talk about this in the future, when he's talking about the book of works, 2 Corinthians 5:10, Christians standing at the bema seat of Christ says you'll be judged for all the things done in the body, good and bad. It doesn't say the book of works, but there is something that is being recorded that you're going to be judged for. And we can talk about that in detail another time. Okay. That's where it comes from.
Okay. All right. Brenda Williams wants to know why did you choose psychology as a career? And are you originally from Huntington? Which you've answered the second part, and I think a little bit of the first.
Yeah, he said he chose because everybody came to him. Right?
Yep.
It became natural.
Yeah.
I find people interesting. I love people, which is kind of funny. I'm an introvert, but I love people, and I wish I could get more people, but I can't sometimes. But I just want to be a counselor of some kind. At least go in that direction. I don't have to be a counselor.
Right.
I can just do something like that. And then specifically why I picked psychology and not the counseling major is so I don't hold myself into, I can only be a counselor.
Oh, got it.
So it's like, sure, you can be a counselor quicker if you are a counseling major, and you have to go through a little more schooling for a psych degree. But if God pulls me somewhere else,
okay, that's okay.
It's all right. That's whatever.
Yeah, that's good.
It doesn't matter because I can do everything that goes under psych, which is a lot of stuff.
Right.
So
there's a lot of stuff under psychology.
Yeah, good.
All right. So that number the questions that I just asked right now are from the text messaging group that we have, and it is 260-408-8383, and it's down at the bottom of the screen. And if you don't have it already, if you don't have the number saved in your phone, save it and text podcast, because that will get you into the group, and then you'll be receiving our text messages each week, and then you can ask a question from whoever it is. And even if you don't know the person, I give a little bit of a detail, a little bit of a bios, enough that you could gauge a question off that, but really you can ask anything you want, and it can be, anybody could answer it.
Yeah.
So, we just want to have a conversation with you. We want you to yourself ask questions. If you know somebody who wants to be a guest, if you want to be a guest, you can just say hi, anything. Whatever. We just want to make use of this podcast or the number.
Yeah. Yeah, good. All right, so we'll end it up. Jonah, thank you for coming on. Thank you for coming on last minute. And again, thanks for sharing your story. And we'll continue to pray that as you're going through school, as you're navigating, and again, as you're really pushing into call it whatever you want at HU, the revival or the rebuilding of, or whatever those things are, that we'll be praying with you and pushing into that with you and just watching what God will do. And we're excited for, you and your life and the things that God's doing. So thanks for joining us. And again, don't forget, share, like, comment, give us the ability to be able to get this out to other people so that stories like Jonah's can be shared to other people, and we can all learn from each other in the way that God wants us to go. So thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
That's right.